everybody. I wanted to talk about Communist China and its 5 major media outlets that were deemed foreign missions here in the United States. And foreign missions, by definition, is a permanent office established by a nation to represent its interests in a foreign country. So when we have these Chinese outlets here in the United States, even though they're here, there's certain guidelines and standards they need to follow and adhere to. And since the U.S. has designated 5 Chinese media outlets as foreign missions, these are of ruling communist parties, Chinese Communist Party. This isn't just some Chinese media outlet, and neither is any high-tech, high-big business deal just your regular run-of-the-business mill deal when it comes to China. These guys we already know what their agenda is. You know, they want to make sure they have the ability to infiltrate, get a hold of information, buy out what they can buy out, take over, bribe people to threaten people to follow the agenda, to follow the same spiel. It's disgusting. So the U.S. designated 5 communist media outlets as foreign missions of ruling Communist Party. And this is by Jerry Dunleavy, a Justice Department reporter, and Caitlin Yillick. It's a breaking news reporter. This came out on February 19th of 2020. So the State's Department designated 5 Chinese state-run media outlets operating inside the United States as foreign missions of the ruling Communist Party on that Tuesday. Senior officials with the State Department made the announcement during a special press briefing, revealing that the outlets, I'm going to try to say these Chinese names, these Communist Chinese Party media outlets, such as Xinhua News Agency, XINHUA, Xinhua News Agency, China Global Television Network, China Radio International, China Daily Distribution Corporation, and Haitian, HAI and then TIAN Development USA, would now be considered arms of the Chinese government. Quote, every single one of these entities does in fact work 100% for the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party. A senior State Department official told reporters during a briefing. The official declined to say whether the designations would make it easier to conduct counterintelligence operations against China in the United States, particularly as the Trump administration has been ramping up efforts to fight Chinese espionage. The problem with that is the Chinese have already created so much progress in their agenda for takeover, to infiltrate, to bribe people, to pay off people, to allow them access to a lot of things. and get people to follow that agenda, and then those people threaten people with the communist agenda. It's gotten so much out of hand that I mean, if it was up to me and it made perfect business and government strategy and sense, I would say just they gotta go. But you know, I'm there has to be a lot more to that than just saying something like that. So it's a lot easier said than done. But you know, the move does not impose any journalistic restrictions on the employees of the 5 state-run organizations, the State Department official said. But it does require the organizations to keep the Office of Foreign Missions and the State Department up to date on their current personnel in the United States, as well as their property holdings in the country. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told Axios, A-X-I-O-S, that we are determined to treat China as it is, not as we want it to be. There you go, guys. That's just the way it has to be. And that in China, all media works for the Chinese Communist Party, as General Secretary Xi Jinping has explicitly stated. So we have to remember, anything beyond t-shirts, tennis shoes, items you can order on Wish app. I mean, I have an item I ordered on Wish, which took like 3-4 months to get here, to help me with my gang stalking. It was like some video camera glasses, and I can't even get it to work. But anyways, those things don't really matter. They don't really encumber us. But when it comes to being major media outlets, and then we wonder why we're having so much problems with our media, you know, and the problem is, even though they've deemed these Communist Party Chinese media outlets as foreign missions, even though they've been deemed as that, and there's a standard they're supposed to uphold, these little Chinese communist devils don't follow protocol. They don't follow what they're supposed to follow. And there's people here in America concealing their doings so that America really doesn't have complete oversight of what's going on, because these are tricky devils. So again, since these organizations work for Chinese Communist Party, it is only fitting that we treat them as foreign missions, meaning they are subject to State Department regulation, Pompeo said, adding that the 5 outlets are clearly controlled by the Communist Chinese Party, CCP, and we are simply recognizing that fact by taking action, as they should. The Foreign Missions Act of 1982 states that a foreign mission is defined as any mission to or agency or entity in the United States which is involved in diplomatic, consular, or other activities of, or which is substantially owned or effectively controlled by a foreign government. The law says that the treatment to be accorded to a foreign mission in the United States shall be determined by the Secretary after due consideration of the benefits, privileges, and immunities provided to the missions of the United States in the country or territory represented by the foreign mission, as well as all matters relating to the protection of the interests of the United States. Pompeo said that this action is long overdue Because for years, these so-called media outlets have been mouthpieces of the Chinese Communist Party. And these Chinese outlets are becoming more aggressive. They're out of control, guys. Everything the Chinese Communist Party has their little fangs in, their little paws in, it's all going to hell. We're all suffering because of it. It's only going to get worse, especially if Biden wins. So XINHUA was ordered by the Department of Justice to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act in 2018, but it does not appear that it has done so. See what I'm saying, guys? These communist devils, they don't even follow what they're supposed to follow. And they have people working around them to help kind of conceal what they're doing, kind of keep it out of the forefront so they can keep doing their little devilish works, communistic works, infiltrating our country, sabotaging our country, all that. China Daily, registered under FARA, F-A-R-A, in 1983. They registered, but it's not without controversy. Representative Jim Banks of Indiana and Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, along with 33 other members of the House and Senate, sent a letter to Attorney General William Barr in early February, urging him to investigate the outlets for apparent FARA violations. Oh, I bet they got a list of violations that have piled up. The same day the State Department made its announcement, China revoked the press credentials of the 3 Wall Street Journal reporters based in Beijing, calling the move punishment for an option piece that described China as the real sick man of Asia. So the same day the State Department made its announcement, China revoked the press credentials of 3 Wall Street Journal reporters based in Beijing, calling the move punishment for an opinion piece that described China as the real sick man of Asia. So all this comes as the U.S. has stepped up its efforts against Chinese espionage and trade theft. The DOJ unveiled a 16-count superseding indictment against Huawei last week. Huawei, H-A-U-W-E-I, accusing the Chinese telecommunications giant of engaging in global racketeering, conspiracy to steal trade secrets, and evade sanctions against North Korea and Iran. The U.S. has been warning its Western allies, especially its Five Eyes intelligence sharing partners, not to use Huawei, H-U-A-W-E-I equipment, for the fear that the Chinese government could use backdoor access to spy on communications. Now, earlier that month, Director Christopher Wray of the FBI said the Bureau has estimated 1,000 investigations open into Chinese technology theft that involve just about every industry sector. Guys, I've said it a million times with these communists. They're gonna infiltrate every orifice and pore of every sector that's available that they feel is gonna help levitate them and give them a boost to infiltrate and take over and turn our own country against us. So, there you have it, guys. We have to deep clean, do some deep cleaning. And I almost feel like we can't even trust to have these media outlets here. These CCP Chinese, these communist Chinese party media outlets here, because they're always going to find a way to fraud their standards of what the foreign missions is all about. They're going to find a way to kind of get out of what they're supposed to be doing so that things are transparent. And then they're going to have people like Obama and just people who are going to help them conceal those things so they can keep on being sneaky and stuff like that. And take over and all that, espionage, whatever. So, alright guys, I just wanted to talk about the 5 Chinese media outlets that have been ruled foreign missions of the CCP. And we need to get a hold on this stuff, guys. It's going to be the death of us. Alright guys, have a good night. I don't know if I'll do another video, I might. But if I don't, and if you happen to catch any of my videos, have a good night. And I'll see you soon on the next video. Bye guys.